Pasha Pyro, YN7. Thank you for tuning. The replay. Big board pep for my peeps. How y'all been? I know it's been a couple days. You know, I ain't want to flood you before you ask where I've been, why I ain't do no videos, no stock videos over the weekend, because y'all was celebrating y'all holiday. Y'all was taking time off. And what I told you on Thursday was what it was going to be all weekend. So I ain't want to harass you. That was thoughtful. So besides, I know you had a bunch of other people harassing you during your time off. So hopefully you had a great time and got to enjoy yourself, got some rest, got some recharge, because 2020 been putting that work in on everybody. So, you know, get your rest up, get your crystals charged up, and we're going to go into 2021 strong. So let's take a look at our first one. Of course, you know, we got to go hit up RMG. Now, RMG was doing this thing, man. It was at like $39 in the pre-market. You know, this pre-market thing, man, it pre-market, post-market, it just throws everything off. You know what I'm saying? That's the part. That's like the wild card. That's like the Joker in the spades game. You know what I'm saying? You can't even go on it, because when you look into it, it's like the pre-market isn't really based off of any. Everybody got their own pre-market. Everybody got their own post-market, and like your broker's post-market may not match my broker's post-market. They may be totally separate. They're their own little pool of post-market and pre-market activities. So then by the time I see the pre-market on, you know, I don't know what to believe. So it's always like a little curveball. But that's why sometimes you see the stock be in the pre-market at, like, let's say, not saying this is what happened here, because we clearly had a drop, but you've seen it before where it be in the pre-market at, like, let's say $39, but then it just starts out the blue. It opens at the day at $36.50, and there's no, and you're like, what happened? It's just like a gap, right? And that's an example of how the pre-market and even the post-market in that case doesn't necessarily reflect the true state of the stock in the actual markets. So I'm still trying to figure that one out, you know, how to whatever, right? So let's go. So this one closed today, $31.94. Now it closed yesterday the previous day at $34, right? So here's what the thing was. If that was up, it was up $5 in the pre-market, like I said, and quickly fell, right? But it returned to plus $38. So here's a good opportunity for some, like, I don't want to call it, you know, some entertainment purposes tips, you know what I mean? Or something to think about in the future. Now, it came up to $38 after it fell. Now, opening chaos is normal, right? So we're going to go ahead and accept that. Then it came up to $38, and then it did like a little gradual decline. So being aware of that, you got to, you know, if you didn't catch and sell, I don't know. Again, it depends on how you, not to say I don't know, but what I mean is it depends on how you're playing, right? So if you're just in it, hanging on to it, great. If you're looking for that in and out game, then when you saw it drop and it came back up to 38, for me, that was a time to say, okay, if I'm holding 200 shares and it comes up and I see it hit that 38 and maybe it's either slowing up or it's starting to fall, that's a time where you might want to off, you know, 50 to 100 shares. Boom. Lock in that profit, because if you got 100 shares and it's at 38 and it closed at 34, then you up 4 times 100, and you still got 100 in the bag. You see what I'm saying? So then you see some turbulence there, and it gives you another peak that's, let's call it 38 again. You see I got the 2 circles at the peaks, right? That, what we have to learn from today is that is your cue to say, okay, it's now struggled for a second time to overcome this area. Let's get off some more shares. And you see, if you don't, you're holding, and the next thing you know, you're at $30. Right? Now, nobody knows the future, right? Why that 7? Entertainment purposes. So you wouldn't have known that it was going to come back up to 34 at that moment, let's say, right? So that's a hell of a drop. You're looking at $8, $9 drop on a $40 stock. You see what I'm saying? So that's 25% right there going. What does your heart do at that moment? You know what I mean? What does your heartbeat do? You know what I'm saying? When you're seeing that slide. So that second peak is an opportunity. If you didn't catch the first one, then you need to catch that second one, and you need to get off either more or a good bit of your shares, because, and it's not me telling you what to do, it's me giving you a entertainment. You know what I mean? Just be entertained by this story. Now what happens is when it falls, right? Because let's go back to the text over there on the left. So the second stall should have been a sign to take some profits or hop all the way out. The current issue, right, is that the 29.93, which is that yellow in the middle of the upper red there, that's like the only real stability from 26.29 to, let's just round it off to even $40. That's the only stable point. What you got to know about this is that this stock has been on the run up since the 16th. It's been going up since the 16th. There was no grace period. There was no hold on a moment, let's pause here. So there's no real stability proven. And that's why I got prove it at the end there. Because what I think happened was, in my, just, my analysis, so to speak, is the stock ran up. It got up to almost $40 in the pre-market, and the pre-market people took their profits, which you can't be mad at that. That's the name of the game, get the profits. And then that caused a little drop. The drop happened, and then the spike occurred. Now, as we spoke about before in one of the, either the last video, RMG, or the video right before that, RMG, is that this stock isn't as famous as some of the other stocks, which I said probably would play to our advantage because it wouldn't have the crazy volatility that the well-known stocks get after the merger. Now, as much of a drop as this was, it wasn't really volatile. It was just a bloop, bloop, blap. You know what I mean? Versus the huge swings back and forth, ups and downs you get in some of the other ones that are more popular. And I think that's going to work out to our favor in the long run. All right. So the second peak happens at 38, 30, whatever, right? And then it's just a slide. It's just a slide. And then here's another reason why you don't hear me saying, when you hear me say I buy the dip or buy the dip, I don't mean like on the way down. You know what I mean? And this is like that saying that you hear of don't catch a falling knife, right? So because let's say you're like, oh, okay, it's peak. All right, I see the little pattern. You see where the top green is. You're like, okay, I see the little pattern. It's coming down. I'm going to buy some here. And you load up thinking it's going to go up. and it keeps going down. Now, what if it didn't stop at the $29.93? Because like I told you, it could have went easily all the way to $26. And then that $26 mark isn't too far from that bottom red area. You got to remember, 18 days ago, this stock was at $17. It's a slippery slope. You see what I'm saying? So just things to think about. You got to know what you're dealing with, right? So, worst case scenario, you made a profit and maybe you gave some or most of it back, but you shouldn't have lost too much in this play, even if you held on to it for too long. You see what I'm saying? Because you would have had the opportunity to capitalize off of one or two peaks. And then if you really got lucky, or I ain't gonna say, like, I don't like to use the word luck, because you did something right. You know what I mean? So, but you could have doubled up on those peaks. Like, you could have had that first up, so let it come down, buy back in some more, catch that next peak, and then just been out. You know what I mean? Waiting for the next bottom, and you would have saw that it was at $29. Now at that point, you could have bought in again and caught that 29 to, what's that, 33? Another $4 rip for you. You know what I'm saying? So you really had the opportunity to do about, I ain't gonna tell you what you could have done, but you had 3 opportunities to capitalize on the day, even though the stock is down on the day. All right. Now where I'm at with this stock now is I needed to prove itself, because that little green there, you see it's right there on the edge. 32.65 is where it is post market, which is it's only like a 60-cent difference. That's on the edge of that red area, which the next thing you know, we're in the 20s again. So that little slither of yellow where the 29.93 is, that was its only, like I said, the only little bar of stability. So if it gets up some momentum, it could blow right past that, and I gotta see what it wants to do, So I'm gonna play it light going forward with this one. Hopefully you made a little bit, or at least didn't lose anything. But you had since the 16th on this run up, you really can't complain about anything, because you up almost double. You up double your money based on where it is now. You see what I'm saying? So again, this is like that mindset of, did you really lose anything? Let's say you didn't capture any of this. Let's say it all slipped through your fingers and you missed it. Whatever happened, you was waiting, you waited too long, and you got out, and you whatever. Let's just say you missed all this opportunity to hit 38 with it, right? If you've been following the channel, you've been with RMG since like $17 at least. You see what I'm saying? So you already doubled your money as of right now, where it's at today. So you can't really complain. All right. You allow it to stabilize, and you strategize and make your next play. Like, don't worry. The stock, as long as the stock market open up tomorrow, you get another chance. All right. So now I got some new stuff for you. I told you I was gonna bring you some new stuff, right? Got some new stuff for you. So what we got here is, I call it bingo. It's BNGO, right? And it's BioNano Genomics, right? So as you can see there, I've been in this since the 17th, right? And this was one of the ones I was talking about. Like, this one I think went up 40% in a day, and then it was followed by another, had a lull day, and then you see what it did today. So you had a spike today. We were over $1 from last week. We were at 50 cents basically. You see what I'm saying? So this P.E.P closed at 91 cents a day. It was, even at closing at 91 cents, it was up 25.4% on it a day. So been in this since the 17th. In the background, it's one of my background plays. It broke $1, and the 52-week high on this is $1.39, right? So it's on its way back towards that direction, right? So the cool thing about this is, like I said, when you're doing stuff and you're paying attention, you get rewarded by seeing people, sometimes people who are supposed to, you know, far more recognized as professionals or whatever, because this is just entertainment purposes only here at YN7. You know, they'll make announcements, you know, kind of after you already have, you know, or already are to yourself or publicly or other people or whatever. And that's a good feeling because it's showing that you're developing. You know what I mean? So when you see stuff like that happening on your day to day and on the charts, just know you making plays. You know what I mean? So we were in this on the 17th, and I started to see some analysts, right, talking about this last week, like latter part over the weekend, over the holiday, whatever. So they're talking about, at the rate we're at now, right, I think it could double a lot sooner than later again, because if it's at $1, I mean, it's only gotta get to $2. That's doubling, right? So it's at 91 cents right now. So your favorite analyst, I ain't gonna say your favorite, but yeah, the analyst was talking about, they give you their little price predictions for 2021, and they were saying this could be on the low end like $3, on the high end $9. I think the midpoint was somewhere like $5, right? So now it's for the year 2021, but I think this is gonna double sooner than later. Like, I'm just gonna say sooner than later. It's the 28th, so I ain't gonna say it'll be this year, but sooner than later it's gonna double again, right? So right now, what I want to see it do is I want to see it hold stable above 93, because if you look at my little boxes there, the green is where the money is. We want to get in the green. We want to get on top of that green box and keep going. The yellow is where it's a little slippery, and the red is like, man, here we go again, right? But in the long term, this is a good play, and let's look at why. This is what they got. This is who they are, right? So this thing right here, the Cypher or Sapphire, right? It's actually, they take your DNA and they can put it in this thing, and now it can see like DNA so much clearer and more completely than like the competition. And I guess it's a little faster too, and it's a lot cheaper. So for like $500 per whatever, compared to 10 to 20,000 per whatever, you know, it's providing a great savings to the user and much more clarity. So that's the machine, right? And take a look here. So if you look at some of this stuff here, right, the 21st, they announced that they achieved key milestone with the software, right? Update for its Sapphire system that increases, they call it throughput, to 96 human genomes per week, and adds Sapphire Assured for monitoring health system health, right? Then on the 23rd, it's got publication reveals in side-by-side comparison that method using PacBio, which is a competitor, right? Sequencing detects only 72% of the large structural variants detected by optical genome mapping with Sapphire, right? So today it announces, or their customer Praxis Genomes, accredited by College of American Pathologists, completing first LTD in U.S. for constitutional genetic disorders that uses whole genome analysis with Sapphire as alternative to chromosomal microarray and karyotyping. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take Latin to be able to speak some of this stuff, right? So anyway, you see they got some things going on, okay? And it goes on and on and on. But basically, let's take a look here, because there was something. Okay. So here we go. This is what it's talking about here. So like a big part of the diagnostic challenge is that the genome variations that cause disease are not all the same, right? So you got all these different things going on with the chromosomes, right? And so you got translocation, you got deletion, you got insertion of when stuff ain't supposed to be there but it's there. You got repeat expansion, you got inversion where it's flip flop. Now the single nucleotide polymorphosis, man, I ain't said these words since school. Is it gives you one base pair, right? So you got hundreds base pairs to millions of base pairs in here, right? And a full chromosome, is that tells you that it's a lot, right? So what they can do here is they can take and basically, whereas some of the other competition can only read one or the other or some, they can basically see the whole thing. And they can do it faster at the same time. So here's where it tells you what some of these terms mean. So this is where it's telling you how the work process is going to change and be basically streamlined by using their product versus the competition's. This is what it used to look like, right? And this is what it's like with Sapphire. So here's the competition. You wonder why your medical bill's so high. And then here's what it look like with them. I mean, I don't know. It just looks like there's some value there, right? So you get that going on. Now here's where it tells you about this thing right here. So the old way can do 1 to hundreds of base pairs, right? And the sequencers can only detect these, which is like, the A is wrong or that block, something's wrong with that 1 to 10,000 base pairs. We believe sequencing is not an alternative to Sapphire. Even long read sequencing misses the SVs, which is the structural variants that Sapphire detects with ease, right? So large structural variants, right? Sequencers are blind to these, and that's where it showed you in that other picture. All of these other things, these don't pick up at all. And then hundreds to millions is the difference. So you got 1s to 10s, that's these. I guess that's the old tech. That's Luminar, right? That's their versions. They can get 1 to hundreds of base pairs. PacBio, which is that one that was mentioned earlier, can do 1 to 10,000 base pairs. This one can do hundreds to millions of base pairs. So all these alternatives miss these opportunities, and then there's stuff that happens disease wise that's caused by this stuff that these will never find, where this is picking up, and it can still see that stuff too. Okay, for the most part. So it gives you some key studies and all that good stuff. So like this is an example they got on their website here. Juvenile male patient suffering from muscular weakness and developmental delay. Patient tested negative by standard and advanced molecular methods, right? All of them said negative. Well, they come in with their little Sapphire and find out that this, chromosome X, whatever, chromosome 15, and bam, they find it. You see what I'm saying? So that's going to be a huge opportunity in the medical situation, diagnosis of this and that and the other. And once they start to get, they bought into, the cool part was they bought this company that basically does like management stuff. Not management stuff, but like, how you go to the I know we don't go a lot, but when you go to the medical office and they got that little receptionist area, like picture that receptionist area, there was a company that did that part, and they had all the connections with the health insurance people that you're going to need to get your your stuff processed by insurances and all that good stuff. So they just picked them up recently, if I remember correctly, and that's going to be huge too in itself, because now they can bridge that connection to get their Sapphire system, in bid with the insurance companies, and now you can just start, you have a copay on the processing of I guess any DNA stuff you need done, right? So that's cool. So at this rate, right, we're looking at somewhere between $1.20 and $1.60 real soon. But anything can happen. It could go left, it could go right. We'll find out shortly. There's not really a lot of data to really make a solid prediction on, but that's just the angle that it's going. So let's see how that plays out, right? Now, here's another one for you. Here's the one that I was talking about, was it doubled, right? So I had the card made up for you on the 23rd, but this is my log, so I make these up anyway. So I said, nah, let me not show it to them yet. They're not, we'll save it. But this day it was up. It closed at $5.75, up 350%, right, since the 21st. And then so I got in this one the day before, which was like right when it started to take off. So it closed, today's peak was up 100%. Not today, but on the 23rd was up 100% over the day before. So what I was saying was it had to reclaim and hold 644, and then we were cleared for 722 to 848, right? And I think with the short day I was anticipating we could have saw $8 to $10 a share potentially. Then the market was kind of flat, in some areas, at least on this stock in particular, the day before what y'all call Christmas, and the day before the 25th, the 24th. So it didn't pan out that way. But here's why I'm kind of glad, because it was flat, right? But then also what happened was, so today it closed at 451. That's down 10%, which is actually not bad because it's up 350%. So 10% ain't a problem. So here's why, this is understood and I would say acceptable. And if you look there, it says basically what they did is they came out like after the thing closed on Friday, and they agreed with the investors for a purchase and sale of 6.3 million basically shares, right? And that was at $4.15, which was 17% lower than Friday's closing price, as it says there. So it raised $26 million for them to get ready to put some money into some stuff, and I'm going to show you who they are in a moment. So I think this is a good thing, because now with that on the table, I think it had some pep today, but I've seen this happen before with other stocks, and it's like I gotta look into why this happens or what it really means and etc. But every time it happens, like whatever momentum it has, when they do a halt of the trading, it might only last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but when they halt the trading, it seems to always kill the momentum. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, but it's like, so they halted the actual trading like early AM in the pre-market, and I think it was going to come out the gate hard, but that, because you see it still had an upward spike, and I think it just fizzled out because so much momentum was lost due to the halting of the trading, and then it just gradually slid down. Now, per the announcement, the sale at 415 should be concluded by Wednesday. So I think that's good because it solidifies basically a floor above $4. So as this raced up, 350%, we're in the same ballpark as we are with RMG at that moment, where it's you can't really say where stable ground, so to speak, because you don't know yet. All this is unprecedented territory. So I think what the good thing is from this, yeah, it's going to drop the price a little bit because they're selling them at $4.15. And, you know, we ended the 24th over at $5. So that's going to drop the price a little bit. It tried to shoot up some. And if you want to go back to the 23rd, we were at like 647. So what I think is good is because that's gonna create the foundation, because you're gonna have so many shares that sold at 415 that's gonna be the new floor. You don't it's kind of like when NEO did it a week ago or so, right? When you put out that new sale at that amount, it kind of creates a new floor there. So basically, we're at 451 right now. You kind of can buy into this right now. With I would say a little bit more confidence that you probably shouldn't end up below $4. You know, worst case scenario, anything's possible. It's for your entertainment purposes only. Do your own research, make your own decisions. I am not responsible for what you do, right? But I'm looking at it from what I would feel about this, is that now you can buy into it if you weren't already in it, and you know, you could feel a little bit more comfortable that your floor is above $4 versus the below $2 it was last week, 2 weeks ago, right? So let's take a look at them, because this company, the reason why I'm bringing this to you, in case you don't already know who they are, I think this is the next Luminar. You know, remember I bought you Metropolis, right? Which turned in Luminar. So I think this is the next Luminar. And let's take a look. Give me a second here. So this is what they do, right? Now, it says a new vision for autonomous vehicles and ADAS, right? First of all, this is an Israeli company, okay? So they're in Israel. Why they got snow, I don't know. I didn't know Israel got snow, but shows you how much I know about Israel. So, but here's what they're I'm not gonna say specializing in, but here's what I see they're focused on. That when I think back about Luminar, you know, which is LAZR, I think I didn't see a big focus on this. You see, their claim to fame is, like you see there, detect any object on any road, lighting and weather condition. And you know, when I see a lot of the testing from the other LiDAR people, it's always a nice day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always a nice day, and it's clear, and it's showing you how it can detect everything and pick up stuff. But as you can see, look at this. You see this? It sees the car before the snow even clears there, right? So if this is true, this is amazing. And let me tell you also why this is really interesting. This is very, very interesting, because not too many people I hear talking about NEO actually has a deal with Israel already, right? So if NEO is going to be in Israel, then also this company is Israeli. Man, look, let me tell you something. When they develop technology on the global stage, I think they just throw a bunch of money and all the companies fight for who's going to have the best product. But what happens when that's being done is that you develop, this company over here might be really strong at this. Then this company over here might be really good at that part of it. And then when the people at the top sitting down looking at the chessboard says, okay, let's put all the pieces together, you have a much more robust system, because you had different people vying for, it was a competition in that way. You see what I'm saying? So NEO goes into Israel. What happens if they connect with this company? Now, Luminar is already connected with NEO, right? And you got the Mobileye with who's that? You got Mobileye, right? So you got Mobileye, Luminar, NEO. NEO goes into Israel, and there's this company. So if they have a stronger multi-weather detection, guess what's going to happen? They're going to form Voltron, right? Let's take a look at this. So they're saying, if you do or don't know what these mean, multi-spectral stereo vision sensing system, field proven. It's a mature technology. I thought this was pretty cool. It actually is adapted from operational surveillance applications. So basically, this technology, it's not like it's just being newly developed. It's already been proven in other applications, which to me is a bonus because you don't have that concern of if it's going to work. It's just a matter of how do you make it work on this new platform. You know what I'm saying? So what they're saying is it enables the AVs to operate safely in harsh weather conditions. And so they're saying, look, a little fog, and you're supposed to be able to see the cattle or whatever this is before you get to it. Automotive grade, cost-effective solution on a wide range of markets, right? Customizable, of course. Look, FLIR, this is one of their partners. Okay, here goes some more partners. Look, they got awards already. Look like they're pretty significant awards. Gold Edison Award, recognizing and honoring innovation and excellence in the development, marketing, and launch of new products and services in the autonomous vehicle category. Not just in general, but specifically in the autonomous vehicle category. Bam, 2019. All right, so check this out. All right, so here's them, right? They also got this deal, which is really when I started really, I have been looking, and then this is when I really started paying attention, because they got a deal with this thing with, well, they have Rail Vision, right? Which is railroads. So the railroads are going to be, the trains and stuff are going to be able to use this technology for their advantage and benefit on the railroads, which is like an untapped market for this stuff, I guess, right? Boom, they got a contract over there already. Great, blow that up. So theirs is called iNet, as you can see here. And then they got the Foresight Automotive is the vision-based accident prevention system, right? Now look at this here. Now here's what's cool about it. Like we said, they already got operational surveillance applications, right? The core technology is software and algorithms, right? Because basically you can put a camera on it and it's the software and the algorithm that makes the difference. They got about 70 employees, and that's mainly R&D, approximately. 70 employees, and they doing all this stuff. They got 6 patents. They were founded in 2015. Bam, value, right? Now here's where they get messy with it. They show you all these Teslas and the Volvos all crashed and banged up, right? That's messed up. They ain't had to do that, but they proven a point. So what they're pushing is they're trying to say that, well, where these cars fail, you can count on us. So what's going to have to happen if these crashes keep happening with these other cars, these other technologies, and they come out and their cars don't have these same incidents? Guess who's going to get picked up on everywhere, right? So here's what that technology is doing over there. So it gives you visible cams, or it gives you a visible camera, and it gives you like this depth map, and what it does is it merges them. Okay, and it gives you supposedly, it's a better picture or whatever, because it's overlaying a different technology, and then on top of that, the software algorithm, right, does its thing. Here's where it explains it to you a little better here. So you got the thermal cams, you got visible, and then it merges them. Let me get that out of there so you can see. You know what I mean? It gives you a thermal cam, a visible cam, and then it merges it. Right? So what traditional stereo systems do, they give you these two little cameras, rigid beam mounting, whereas they're giving you like, it's got 6 cameras on the front of this one. You see what I'm saying? One on each side here, one there. So it just gives it a much better ability to detect. Now look at the markets they try and get into. Military, boom, money, right? Passenger vehicles, okay. But commercial vehicles, definitely money, because they got to make sure their product is being transported safely. So especially once they become fully autonomous, they going to want this stuff in their car, in their truck, in their rig. Industrial vehicles, the same thing, because that's safety. You got ISO, all kinds of stuff, right? I'm not saying ISO supporting this yet or whatever, but you already know. So this is pretty cool. Take your time. And they had this thing here about the pandemic, where they can do a scan, and their technology can scan and basically tell you something about your status with the pandemic situation. And that one scan turns into being able to scan like a whole city block. Yeah, it gets crazy. So they got ready to get into the money. I'm bringing it to you now. It's $5. You get into it. You see what Luminar did. If you get in now and it goes to $35, $40, you in the money. So their iNet system is going to be able to not only do its little ICU thing, it's also going to be able to talk to the other users and interface with the other operators, whether it's an autonomous vehicle itself or an actual user using the interface. So they'll all be able to talk to each other. That's kind of unique. Here go the train situation. You see what I mean? It talks a little bit about that. So you see where they going, right? You see where they going. Okay? So it's cool. They just put out a whole bunch of shares at $4.15 a share. That it didn't like dilute it, but it did. I guess it is a dilution technically. So don't worry about the stock going down today. I think it's a good opportunity for you to be entertained by here at YNet 7. Go do your own research. Decide if you want to get in it for yourself. I'm Pasha Paro. It's YNet 7. Big board P.E.P for my peeps. Thank you for tuning. The replay.